Welcome, reduction of carbon emissions groups, to your focus area video. This is going to explain some key components for the reduction of carbon emissions. So, this is a huge topic. It's a broad topic, and it is no secret that we need to reduce our carbon emissions in order to prevent our legacy load of carbon from increasing. As you saw last week, the legacy load is the amount of carbon that we have put in the atmosphere since the agricultural time where we started to produce industry emissions. So, the reduction of carbon emissions, it can be attacked in many ways. But what is important today, and for your understanding, is looking at where most of the carbon in our atmosphere comes from now, okay? The EPA.gov, as I'm sure you might have already found in your research, has a really important graph that you can look at by clicking here. You'll have access to these slides. But you need to focus on one of three areas because these three areas are the leading in adding carbon to our atmosphere. So you have transportation, electricity, and industry. So you can find components of each of these on the EPA.gov website if you want to read a little bit more, as I'm sure you may have already looked at. But those are the three biggest areas. And I would like it if you focused on probably just one of those because they do have the biggest impact. And there's a lot of components that go into each of these. So, as far as electricity is concerned, we burn lots of coal. Okay, we still burn coal, even though we have kind of renewable things that we have been looking at now. We still burn coal, and it is responsible for much of the carbon that is released into the atmosphere as of today. There's a new process, and this is called clean coal. And it takes the carbon that's released from the burning of coal and it uses it for something else or it stores it. Okay. So I want you to consider today, is this better? You're going to be reading an article on clean coal and kind of looking at the process of it. So I did want to show you this clean coal process. And hopefully, this will help you a little bit in understanding when you read the article. So, we have a lot of coal that comes into our factories, okay? Normally, it is going to escape to the atmosphere, okay? Now, in clean coal production, what happens is this coal is processed, okay? And some of it, some of the carbon dioxide is still going to be released to the atmosphere from that combustion. So combustion is burning. So we burn the coal. Some of it is still released into the atmosphere. But then what happens is we try to capture some of the carbon dioxide. Okay. So what we do is we try to put this carbon dioxide, we inject it by as much as 185%. So what this means is we try to take some of this CO2 and we try to put it into oil. Okay. So it's a very complicated process, but essentially, and you can read more about it on the Scientific American article that you'll be reading. But we do have, and this is representing like a coastal area where you are tapping into oil reserves and where this carbon dioxide is going to. But what I really need you to understand is that some of the carbon dioxide is still being released, some of it is being stored. It can be reserved and mixed with oil. And they are also trying to find other ways to use that carbon dioxide as energy. But essentially, it's not 100% clean. So I want you to think about that as you're reading and as you're thinking about your product, and think if this is maybe something that you can attack with your group.